beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. You know the man, Coach Mike James. You know the brand, P&Z Life Coaching. And I want to welcome you and tell you, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notifications when I release these dope interviews, Black Business Booming, impactful conversations, and all of my motivational videos. So as I always tell you, I have great conversations, great interviews to bring you. And today is no different. I have an amazing guest. Connections. Listen, y'all hear me say so often, check your web, not your circle, but your web, how you're intertwined with other people, whether it be in business, professional life, personal life. Check your web. And so I'm excited, man, to bring this interview for this impactful conversation. I'm going to let the man himself do the pleasure of introducing him. I appreciate the connection. So, bro, thank you for your time, first of all, and go ahead and introduce yourself to the people who don't know who you are.
Wow. Well, thanks, Coach Mike. I'll do the best I can. What up, everybody? This is yours truly, the Mohawk and Real Talk and Living Fully Business Bully, Dave Anderson, out here doing what I do, snapping necks, cashing checks. Woo! I'm a serial entrepreneur, 20-time back-to-back best-selling #1 author, speaker, coach, all the things. I help people get money.
There you go.
What I do.
Love it. I love it, man. And of course, I always tell people I have an affinity for coaches as a coach and people that have a passion for helping people. And what you do and your approach is amazing, which we'll get into. But Dave, I want to just take a moment and talk about with impactful conversations. I like to go back to the beginning. So like your background, your early life, what was young Dave like? Well, before we get to the point of who you are now and what you do, what was your early life all about? And what? Tell us about young Dave.
Wow. There was a baby book. It burned up in the fire. There's a baby book my mother had, and it had, that little piece of your umbilical cord that falls off of your belly button. It had that, and it had David came into the world with his eyes wide open and his arms outstretched as if to say, "I'm here." Right. So from the second I was born, I was ready. Like, I don't know why I was ready, but I was ready. And, I was a disruptor even before I was born. My mother and father had this pinochle war, right? Pinochle card game for those of you who don't play it. And my father, it was like literally 683-0. So my mom is finally whooping up on my daddy in pinochle. And they're like, "Mrs. Anderson, your son's ready to pop." She's like, You mean this kid is gonna cost me winning? My dad like, "It's all right, you wasn't gonna win no way." And she was like, "I got the game." So like I've always been a disruptor. I've always been that type of kid. In first grade, I got sent to the principal's office because I told the teacher she didn't know how to teach. And I told her that she was trying to teach first graders on the wrong type of paper that we weren't ready for. So she went and made the principal call my mother in. My mother comes in. Come to find out, this was my mom's classmate at Cheney University. And she was like, this your son?" She was like, "Yeah." She said, "Well, this is what he said." And my mom was like, "Well, yeah, well, he's right." So like, I've never been anything other than what I am. And sometimes for people, that's a lot to deal with. For me, it's a day that ends in AY. I love being myself. I don't worry about consequences. I don't worry about how people feel about me because none of that's my business. I got a purpose. I have a voice. I'm going to use it. So that's how I was as a kid. That's how I am as a man.
I love the idea of what you said, a disruptor, going against that status quo of what people are taught or believe is the right way. And then just having that voice at an early age to say, "Hey, you're wrong," and to be able to stand on that. But it also speaks to that support, like your mom said, "Hey, he's right," to have that. So you talked about that. That's super impactful, especially early on as a child, to be able to have that voice already. And like you said, you knew it. So are there any other impactful moments that you can think about when you were growing up, when you were younger?
Yeah, I would watch my parents. I live a real rich dad, poor dad type of life, in that my father saw the world a certain way when it came to business, and my mother saw the world in a different way when it came to business. My mother is a very educated woman. She graduated from Cheney University, then got a master's in education from the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school. My mom is a teacher. So she comes at things very regimented, very boom, 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 boom. She's not an automaton, but she understands the impact of what knowledge can do to young Black minds, and that's always been her mission. My father did not go to school. He graduated high school in 1954. He went, I think he took a couple of college classes, but he sent all of his siblings and paid for all of his siblings to go to school. You know, dad fought in the Korean War. He became a cop, made some smart investments. He was really big on making sure that his family got what he didn't get. And my dad bought a corner store, you know, in Harrisburg, where his family had migrated from South Carolina. And he went and got the two most popular arcade games and put them in the store. And I'm like, Dad, wow, for what? And he was like, none of these kids around here got no Nintendo. None of these kids got no Atari. But they're gonna come to this store. They're gonna come to Anderson's, you know, and their parents are gonna be like, oh, well, get me a pack of Benson and Hedges menthol lights. Go get me a loaf of bread. Go get me some milk. And so I'll pump these quarters in here every day because I know it's gonna bring kids up in here. And I was like, that's what I said. You know, so
Yeah.
you know, and I would watch my mom like take things like subway tokens and turn them into pins and then sell them to the white teachers at her gig. You know what I'm saying? So it like the way that they operated was different, but it was parallel. They both saw openings and they exploited those openings, regardless of, you know, education, socioeconomic background. They both found openings and used their brains to exploit those openings. And, you know, that's what I do in business. That's why my clients make the types of money, you know, the types of revenue they make.
Man, that's so amazing. You know, you talked about, you knew from the beginning, and it speaks to, again, that example you gave of your parents and what they did and how they looked at things, man. So that's incredible. So I mentioned earlier talking about that web, checking your web, something I love to tell people. Who are you intertwined with? Mm-hmm. So as you think about what you do in helping people, you talked about your clients. That's why they do what they do, because you do what you do. Right. So as you think about that, what does community mean to you?
Community is everything, right? And I'm going to tell you, I look at things a little bit differently than your average coach. I'm the one and only coach that will be this honest with you and tell you exactly what my problem is with the coaching industry. The coaching industry has two flaws as I see it. One, they exalt the coach. Two, the coach exalts the coach. You know what I'm saying? I'm great because I'm great. I wanted to be a trash man, bro. Like, I didn't want to, like, my whole life, like, I would love to tell you that, you know, I was born by the river. And I just wanted to, you know, be great and be ascendant. And I wanted somebody to hold me up like Simbo and Pride Rock. Nah, I want to be a trash man. Community is a problem. I don't have a community, Mike. I have a gang. Let me break that down for you. Who runs the Crips? Who runs the Bloods? Who runs the Gangster Disciples? Do you know? But you know who the Crips, the Bloods, and the Gangster Disciples are, right? Mm-hmm. Because nobody is more important than the gang. If somebody in the gang got a problem, the gang got a problem. If somebody in the gang needs help, the gang is going to help. When I die, the bully gang will still be around. That's the difference between a mastermind, which is about the ego of a coach, versus a gang mentality when it comes to development, strength, group economics, you know, and mindset. Like, to me, that is different. It becomes about the collective being better than the sum of its parts. And I think that's why we have the result that we have. I don't believe in cult leadership. I don't believe in extra stuff. I believe in putting people in position where they're great. And so you need a tight-knit community, yes, but you need a community that realizes that there are bigger things at stake, and things are bigger at stake, meaning something other than just what you're getting out of this. What are we getting out of this? We have a saying, it's called lean on the gang, LOTG, which means if we're looking for something, we look within the gang first, because hundreds of people are in the gang. So we know that somebody does something or knows somebody who does something. So we're going to create the economy amongst ourselves. Yes, they're writing me very large checks, Mike, but they're also writing large checks with each other. And then once I'm done getting you to where you need to be, then we start talking about joint venture partners. Then we start talking about equity deals. We don't put the cart before the horse, which is what happens on the Shark Tank. So community is important, but community with a gang mentality cannot be stopped.
Oh, man, I love that. I say in all my interviews, this is where I insert those horns, because that's a gem, and I hope people are paying attention to that. Oh, man. So we talked about impactful moments, right, for you growing up, that zeal that you already had because you knew who you were at a young age. So as you think about that, and especially coming off of what you just explained about that community with the gang mentality, that we're all in this, what is your idea, or what is your thought of impact as an adult?
It's hard, man. Because when I say what I say, people think that I'm crazy, and I'm not. And when I say what I say, people think I'm arrogant, and I'm not. Maybe a little. But I'm the best in the world at this business thing, bro. Point blank and period. Like, I have touched you, and you and I have never been in the same room.
Exactly.
Would you like me to prove it?
Yeah.
Ever had a Red Bull?
Yeah.
You're welcome. Ever listen to Charlamagne?
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome. Ever enjoy a podcast?
Indeed.
What can I say except you're welcome? All of those things point to me. No, I'm not saying that I did it all by myself, but yeah, no. And the thing of it is, people who impact the world very rarely get credit for it. And people who impact the world aren't looking to impact the world. When Red Bull was first starting off in America, they had hired a marketing company called PromoWorks that I wound up working for. And they were like, oh, you just give it out to tired people and tell them Red Bull gives you wings. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to the strip club. I was trying to go to the strip club. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, no, we can jump behind the bar and we can make this a drink. So I was addicted to Stoli Raspberry. So I would mix Red Bull with Stoli Raspberry. So if you've ever had a Red Bull and vodka, you're welcome. A lot, and the thing of it is, by the time I got done with PromoWorks, Red Bull had absorbed the company, and I went back to radio because I wasn't trying to impact a billion-dollar corporation. I was trying to do something to get by until my next radio gig. Impactful people aren't worried about making an impact. They're trying to move in a direction that makes life easier for them. And as a result of them finding ways to make things easier for them, they inadvertently make an impact. The impact is always the effect. It's very rarely the cause. And that's what it is, bro. Like, I look at it like, as a man, I understand legacy. As a man, I understand impact. As a man, I understand what it means to be both a pioneer and a settler. And at this point, impact and legacy are important to me. But when I was a 23-year-old kid, I was a 23-year-old kid, and I wanted to give out Red Bull to strippers. I wanted to hand a Red Bull to Allen Iverson, so I did. I mean, that's just, I wish I could tell you it was magical. That wasn't, So that's, that's just what it is.
That journey, man, like people look at the start or the finish or where you are and don't pay attention to the journey. You talked about even giving that credit and knowing where the credit belongs, right? So impact as you see it, and leaving that impact and that legacy. I love that. So you mentioned how you're leaving an impact. even in what your hands have been a part of, and your mind, your brain, that intellectual property. So as an adult, where in your timeline, let's talk about the business bully. When did that come a thing? When did you brand that? When was that aha moment for you where that became a thing, and what inspired you to do that?
I have a love-hate relationship with my people, Mike. I love Black people. I root for Black people. But when you tell Black people something, and when I say this generally, because there's going to be some, well, not all, and that's not fair, and it's generalization. I'm speaking to a general audience, and so generally, yeah, I can say generally the state of Black people is not what it should be, because if Black people were clicking on our cylinders, our communities wouldn't be the way that they are. Right? If Black people were clicking on all cylinders, then there would be a brother town down the street from Chinatown in every major city in America, and there's not. If Black people were clicking on all cylinders, including those of us that we like to ostracize from our community, including the LGBTQIA, was clicking on all cylinders, then there would be more Black businesses instead of the 0.3% Black-owned businesses in the neighborhood. So I'm saying all that to say, at this point, I was on Facebook and there was an asshole. I don't remember his name and it's not important to the story. And this guy I'd seen for years. It's about 2014 at this point. So I'd seen this guy for a period of a few years, at least 3 or 4 of them, ask people the same damn questions and just trying to get information, but never acting on it. And I was like, yo, for like 3, 4, damn near 5 years, you've been in here asking the same questions and you ain't done nothing yet. Like, when do you want to get up off of your ass? When do you want to take a risk? When do you want to put some skin in the game? Right? And then he was like, well, Dave, when I came to you, you wanted 40% of my company. Slow down, Buttercup. You ain't got a company. You make cookies out your mama's kitchen. That's not a company, young partner. You ain't got one sale. You ain't got one purchase order. You ain't even got a co-packer. Don't talk to me about your company. You got an idea. And while your cookies are bomb, your process is non-existent. I can snap my finger and get your cookies wherever you want them to be, homeboy. That's what my 40% is for. And without me, 40% of 0 is 0. I don't care what calculator you use. So somebody else saw this thread, because this is before live video became a thing, and I'll get to that in a second. Somebody said, Dave Anderson, you're so mean, and you don't have any heart, and you're a business bully. I said, no, bitch, I'm the business bully. And then I called my trademark attorney. That was 2014.
So bro, okay, that's what I was going to ask you. When was that? 2014. Wow, that's amazing. That is that bomb drop moment of, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this and run with it. I love that. So, that luck is where opportunity meets preparation. You were already that, and that opportunity presented itself. So I love that, and I appreciate the approach. Again, when I connected with you, like you said, we've never met, but when I connected, I'm like, okay, let's go. Because for me, being the youngest of 10, I had to make my voice known and make my presence known. So that approach, that disruptor, yeah, man, 10.
Ooh, your parents is getting it.
So here's the thing. In fact, one of my middle sisters, she transitioned on before I ever was thought about. So it's actually 11. But yeah, but 10, man, I always tell people my parents were Southern preachers, and they maybe had one scripture in their Bible, be fruitful and multiply, and they obeyed. They obeyed. They was like, okay, let's do it. So I appreciate that, man. Listen, Dave, I know I appreciate your time and everything, the impactful conversation that we've had and everything that you brought to it. I appreciate that. But I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to be connected with you, to see your approach and to find out more about you. So take a moment and just tell everyone how they can find you on whatever platform, or the best way to find you and connect with you.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. I am on just about every major platform at The Business Bully, except for Snapchat and Twitter, because they wouldn't give me THE. So it's DA as in Dave Anderson, Business Bully. And it's the only time I'll ever use duh in anything. Like, 2 words bother me in the English language, duh and lil. Like, we just can't stretch.
The LIL?
It bothers me. You know why it bothers me? Because when white people say it sounds really ridiculous. Hey, do you like Lil Wayne? Whoa.
Oh, come on, man.
Hurts my ears like fingernails on chalkboard. Everything is the business bully. I coach people who want to take their situation to the next level. Right? We've got beginner programs, but my bread and butter is our $50,000 mastermind. Now I have a scaled down version of that that's $8,000, and I actually purchased a finance company so that we can like eliminate the excuse of I got bad credit. Most people in America have bad credit, regardless of race or socioeconomic structure, have bad credit. So your credit's no longer a factor. If you can do $320 a month, you know, you get the value of a $50,000 program for $8,000. You get me, my team, and I have everything. I've got graphic designers, I've got web people, I've got marketing people, I've got TV and video people, I've got people who want to help you publish your book. Like I wanted to create a high-end Walmart for people who want to grow, expand, and scale their businesses. And so that's what I did. So if you want to get down with that, you click the first link in my bio on Instagram or go to freegamealert.com. So freegamealert.com, you can get on the calendar, you can talk to me or one of my team members, man. And you know, my whole thing is I've been broke. I ain't going back to broke, bro. Broke sucks. When people tell you money isn't everything, it's not. But you know what? It buys everything that makes people happy. Money don't buy happiness, but it damn sure puts a down payment on it. And let me tell you something. I would tell my wife, I would tell my kids, I will tell you. Do you know the difference between paying and doing?
Between paying and doing.
Paying and doing.
What is it?
People struggle to pay bills. I do the bills. Meaning, oh, that's how much it is? I do the bills every month. Oh, payroll? Boop. I do the bills. When you don't have to worry about more month at the end of the money, the imagination, the creativity, the possibilities your mind opens up to are phenomenal. Here's the last thing I want to leave you with, Mike. If you could just give me one more minute, I would really appreciate it.
Man, definitely, for sure.
Do you know the greatest resource the so-called United States of America has ever seen?
What is that?
Take a guess.
Time.
No. I can make more time. People say you can't make more time, they're stupid. You make more time every day. Every time you pay somebody to do something you don't want to do, you make time. Like, for example, my brother's in the hospital. He's recovering from heart surgery. I had a buddy of mine who owns a cleaning business. I paid him to clean my brother's house from top to bottom because I need to make sure he's in a clean, sterile environment. I'm sitting here with you. He's cleaning that house. I wasn't going to clean the house. I made a lot of time that day. The greatest resource America has ever had and continues to have is Black creativity and ingenuity. You can't think of anything we haven't touched. Try. I give you 10K, you come up with something.
Nothing.
Other than lynching and racism, everything can be traced to us. So if you're harnessing yourself out to somebody else so that they can pay you $20, $50, $200 an hour, you ought to be able to find a way to do that for yourself. And you know where you can find it? freegamealert.com. No, you can, but this thing right here has more computing power than the first 5 manned missions to the moon. The end. If you can find that videotape of Stevie J chasing Faith Evans around talking about how much he hates her, then you can find how to monetize it. If you can't, if you're confused, if you don't know what to put in, call me. And that's what it is, bro. Like, I want our people to win because we can. The only way, you're not going to, Dr. Seuss did a mind job on Black people because we believe that if we just smiled enough, if we just hugged enough, if we just nonviolent enough, that racist people, if we marched and sang "We Shall Overcome," they were singing "We Shall Overcome" before I was born. My mom got knocked upside her head at the lunch counter once. My uncle got dog sick on him. They've been singing that as long as they've been singing "We Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around." They've been singing it from the time my parents were thought of. Yet and still, Black people have less wealth now than they did then. And my grandfather had 7 kids on a 6th grade education. You want to change your life? Get money. Bet on you. You will sit up there, you'll come up with a great idea, and you'll pitch it to your boss. And then they'll take that idea, they'll make millions off of it. You're already salaried, so it's a work for hire. And then when you go at the end of the year, they'll give you a great end of year review, tell you you're phenomenal. And then when you ask for a 3% cost of living increase, they'll say it's not in the budget, even though you've helped them make millions. Think about that.
Yeah.
And tell me how that makes sense. Entrepreneurship, I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's one of the best ways. Here's the difference, right? My detractors will say, well, Dave, you can be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. And I'm like, yeah, most definitely. Got a Mexican, I can do it. Here's the difference. Tomorrow, Mike, no cap. And you know what the kids say now? No cap. Tomorrow I can go by a doctor's office. And I ain't got to be a doctor. And I will make more money than every doctor in that practice because I own the office. That is the difference between paying and doing.
Come on, man. Look, if you had a mic to drop, we wouldn't create feedback. I mean, that would be the time, man. I'm still just stuck on you creating a target for business because she said creating that high-end Walmart and just all the gems you drop, man. Listen, for everybody, definitely there'll be descriptions and links in the bio or in the description for you to make sure you connect with Dave. Man, listen, bro, I appreciate your time. I appreciate all the gems that you drop, man, and the info, and even just that background and what kind of that process and that journey of what got you to this point. And especially that light bulb moment of what brought about the Business Bully. So again, I'll put it back to you. Anything else you want to leave the people with, man? Any cherry on top or any other thoughts that you have?
The only time my parents could ever say I defied them was when I said, this is my dream, I'm going to go get it. Y'all are listening to people who are programmed for a particular time. Like mom and them are wrong. And the reason mom and them are wrong is like, let's pretend your mom has an iPhone 1. This is a 13. 1 can't fathom what 13 can do. I'm built for this time. I wasn't built, but we ain't gonna let nobody. Thankful for it. Can't be here without my predecessors, but let's keep it a buck, shall we? I am built for a time such as this. So their time was about survival. My time is about surthrival. Survive, yes, but thrive through it all and make sure you come out winning. When I die, my kids are millionaires. How about yours? And if that's not the conversation you're having, come have a conversation with me and my gang. We'll get you there. It ain't gonna be easy. It ain't sexy. I'm gonna cuss you out. You ain't gonna like me. You gonna tell me I'm everything but a child of God and it's so hard. Well, guess what? You know why it's hard? Because I'm in the 1%. It's easy being a 99er. It's hard because once you get there, Mike, you gotta keep it.
Yeah.
That takes something. And I don't know how anybody was raised, and I ain't judging nobody, but I will say this. I wholeheartedly believe in one thing and one thing only. That if you understand where you are in the pecking order of things and how you can get yourself to the next level, there ain't nothing you can't do, bro. That's it. I put on the glasses not to be cool or have some type of boom moment. I'm about to go get my kids.
Definitely.
It's sunny outside. You know
Listen, bro, I appreciate you. Thank you for everyone who's watched. Thank you for tuning in to another impactful conversation. Make sure that you leave a comment what stood out to you and share this with somebody who you know can use it, not who you think, who you know can use it. And we'll see y'all next time on another episode of Impactful Conversations. Peace.